plus a widespread issue. Second Harvest Food Bank says 1 in 6 people experience food insecurity in Northwest North Carolina. More than 100,000
though, with
people
that
in
pain in your
Guilford and
wallet,
Forsyth
grocery
County
prices
fall into that
continue to rise. More than 10%, in fact, over the last year. That's according to
0.9% of North Carolinians experience some form of food insecurity. That is slightly higher than the national rate of 10.4%.
When seeds are planted in soil,
They love it.
it also plants a seed somewhere else.
1.2 million citizens in North Carolina, as of 2021, are said to be facing the issue of food insecurity, the lack of access to nutritious and sufficient foods. The issue of food insecurity is mostly felt in rural areas which don't receive the attention or resources needed. Community gardens are a great way to deal with the issue of food insecurity, but many people lack the time to take care of these gardens. As a group, we vow to make a solution by making a self-reliant community garden to quell the issue of food insecurity.
Hello, my name is Julian Eteria, and I'm the one who came up with our main solution, and I'm also the team leader.
Hi, I'm Nolan Hunter. I'm the team organizer, and I make sure everybody stays on task on the Gantt chart.
I'm Alejandro Herrera, and I've been in charge of this documentary, and like Nolan, have helped keep everything organized within the group.
My name is Angel Zapata, and I know most about the greenhouse aspect. And with this knowledge of mine, I try to help our team leader, Julian, for our group solution.
The first phase of the project, which started in the middle of September, was mainly us figuring out what problem we wanted to solve. And while there are many valuable problems that are today in the world, we decided to focus on solving food insecurity in North Carolina.
Food insecurity, as the National Institute of Emerging Issues states, is something 1.2 million citizens in North Carolina face.
So food insecurity is the lack of access to healthy and safe foods. Some people can be living day by day and not having this access to the safe and healthy foods.
Our research has shown that community gardens have been proven to be a great way to reduce the issue of food insecurity. This issue stems from the fact that they are very much time consuming, and most people just don't have time to take care of these gardens, making them not viable for most.
This is where we as a group finally reached our solution as we started brainstorming on ideas on our whiteboard. Me and Angel specifically would actually draw on the whiteboard and just throw around ideas to see what could be the most effective for our solution. Once we reached this point, we actually started annotating these sketches, which led us to our first technical sketches and our annotated sketches, which had much more rudimentary designs, which was what was shown in presentation 1. So for the first set of sketches, we had 2 designs originally. One that was much more smaller and supposed to be much more personal for personal use, and then we had a much more larger design in mind, which would be for our community gardens. Now both of these had the exact same prospects, and where they'd all have the hoop house cover, which also all have wheels at the bottom for transport for mobility reasons. But both of them have a soil bed, and they had a water basin built at the bottom. And essentially these sketches were very rudimentary, they were very simple, and that's exactly what these 2 designs are.
While we're at the point where we're still developing our potential solution, it was very important for us to contact with many people who may be there to help. The most prominent mentor we have for our group is Christina Moore, a general manager for fleet services at Duke Energy. We managed to get her to agree to be our primary mentor for this project. We asked her a couple of questions through email, along with showing her these annotated sketches.
Now, after having our first couple of annotated sketches and ideas of how we wanted to solve our problem, we now wanted to go out to the public and poll what the public thinks about our idea. With our poll, we set up a simple Google form and had the general public fill it out. With 89 responses, we learned that a majority of people, 72.1%, were interested and believed in what our product had to offer. 86.4% were interested in having more community gardens, and 86.4% believed in solar energy being an effective tool to use for a community garden. Along with that, with our poll, we allowed people to give us suggestions through the poll. So we got things such as people wanting flower gardens, water sprinklers, and pollinators to add for our garden.
At this point, we reached our finalized designs for presentation 1, and along with some of the smaller assignments like our team identity and feedback from our mentor, as well as updating our website, we were ready to show this, or to show the introduction to our project to the world.
Presentation 1 went very smoothly. We simply presented to the class everything we have done in phase 1, and through this we also gained further feedback from our classmates and even the judges. With this moving forward into phase 2, our group had the task of taking our feedback from this presentation and further improving our project.
Phase 2 was really about finalizing our design and strengthening it with our feedback and research. We did things such as get into a Zoom call with our mentor, Christina Moore, to discuss our design. Once doing that, we then interviewed college students and professionals. We read a book called The Year-Round Solar Greenhouse by Lindsay Schiller, a book all about teaching the reader aspects to a greenhouse and growing plants. We also looked at laws, codes, and regulations that exist that could affect our product. Through all of this research and feedback, we began to tweak our designs more and more.
Due to all this new research, we did things such as Separating our garden bed and irrigation system, thanks to what our mentor told us. We did things like add a cooling and heating system due to what the book mentioned. We streamlined the design to be more simple, and we added a shutdown feature for the solar panels. This is where we now land on our new Phase 2 annotated sketches.
Now, after those earlier sketches we showed, we moved on to these annotated sketches. And these sketches are much more, I guess, finalized. Between these two sketches, what we really wanted to highlight with these was like, okay, we have what we want, we know what we're going to do. How do these work and how do they act as a cohesive ecosystem, if you will? And that's where the second page comes in and where it shows the diagrams of like the sprinklers or the water system, and it has all the description. And so eventually these are what pivoted to allowing us to create our technical drawings and our big 3D CAD model, which is what we showed during presentation 2.
So alongside with our 3D model, we also made a prototype, a cardboard diorama. It wasn't too big and it wasn't too small. It was probably just like about this size, right? We didn't want to make it too big because we didn't have enough materials, but with the size that we had, we could show off to the people what we were making.
This here is the first prototype. With this design, we kept it close to how the 3D CAD model turned out, keeping everything intact from the solar panels on the side to the water sprinklers on the inside and the water basin on the bottom. As you can see, the garden has 4 legs to stand on and an inside where the produce is grown. Prototype 2 is much smaller in scale. The whole point of this design is simply meant to show that the community garden will be wrapped around in order to keep an airtight seal for the garden to function. Along with that, an exhaust fan is placed on the outside.
At this point, having our prototype, a 3D model, and sketches that were more finalized to what we want to build, it was time for another presentation, one where we really showed to the class what it is we as a group wanted to build, what in the following months we want to grow and develop to ultimately show off at the expo. This phase again was more about developing our project's design further, and we ultimately achieved that by updating our design, taking everything from our mentor's advice to the feedback of the public, and even our book into account when making our new designs.
With 2 successful phases under our belt, this left us to think about our future of this project, and so far what we've decided is that we want to get our materials. We already know what we want and what specific materials those are. We just need to gather them so we can start building our actual product.
The goal is to gain materials and start construction in January leading on to February, and then also get feedback for any improvements we need to make to our product in March, so that we're ready for the expo in April.
We are looking to build the final product in phase 3, and we are excited to show off to the world what we have made.
Team, heading into the next presentation, we're only going to be really mainly focusing on actually building our finalized design. With that, we'd like to thank everybody for watching this documentary and for your continuous support of Radiant Roots as a team. We will continue to hopefully be able to solve the problem of food insecurity in North Carolina along with everybody's support.